Yeah, and it brings me to another topic. When you have somebody that's so over dominant, a superhero, this is the reason why Superman isn't as popular as he used to be. I mean, the novelty is worn off that he's so incredibly strong. That's okay for a couple of years, but after that, it gets very boring. Man of Steel was a hell of a movie, but I would have thought that it would have did him around $800 million at the box office. He's only doing around 400, 500 million. People are tired of seeing that. They like guys like Batman, no superpowers whatsoever, but he gets the job done. He's gonna get his ass kicked in the first round. Second round, though, he'll learn. You have to have, if you want a good hero, you have to have an even better villain. And that's what made Batman so popular with The Dark Knight. Even though it was called The Dark Knight, it was really the Joker's movie. And that's what made it so good. You have to have good villains. And if you keep, obviously the good guy has to win in the end. But if you keep having him beat everybody the first time he shows up, no one's going to want to see that anymore. John Cena is as bad as the golden era of Superman when he was ripping up planets. At least there was a charm to Superman. I mean, he could fly.
Hell, the way the WWE is going right now, they're trying to convince us John Cena can fly. And I told you, I don't know if I mentioned on PWTR, but I know like during my live shows, and I mentioned it on Twitter also, WWE is setting the stage for John Cena to replace Hulk Hogan. And what I mean by that
Yes.
is as the go-to guy in history. Like when you think about wrestling and when you think about those moments and when you think about that one figure, Hulk Hogan may be the one that comes to mind. And I believe that WWE has been setting the stage for a long time to have the image of John Cena replace the image of Hulk Hogan, because
I
after
don't know.
all that Hulk Hogan has did over the years, jumping to WCW, jumping to TNA, all of the personal issues that he's going through, I believe that WWE is looking at John Cena as someone who is more loyal. And you can sense, because over the last few months, they've been mentioning over and over again how John Cena is one of the greatest WWE champions of all time. Like they always talked about how good he is, but now they're talking about it in a historical context. He's an active wrestler, but they're talking about how he's one of the greatest of all time already.
Yeah, I mean, he is. He's definitely one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But when I look at it, there's just something about Hulk Hogan, man. Nobody gets an ovation, standing ovation for 10 minutes straight. Hulk Hogan just had this captive, whether you love him or you hate him, yeah, he did win a lot, too much too, but there's just something about him. I guess it's the it factor, charisma or something. When Hulk Hogan comes out, you love him, you hate him, you're gonna be entertained, man. There's just something about that guy. When John Cena comes out, people want to throw things at him. They don't want to see him on the screen anymore. I don't know. Yes, John Cena was a better wrestler, but it just comes down to who you are, and I don't know how to explain it. Whether it's the aura, the it factor, charisma, I'm always gonna take Hulk Hogan over John Cena. And I grew up in the John Cena era. I didn't see Hulk Hogan in his prime. I saw the broken down Hulk Hogan, the Hulk Hogan who was exiting his twilight. Basically, I saw around the time when the NWO was getting a little bit stale in like 98, 99. That's when I started to really get into wrestling. So, but I have no doubt in my mind that when it's all said and done, John Cena is going to be a top 10, top five. I don't know, man. He's had a lot of great matches. He's had better matches than Hulk Hogan, but it comes down to defining moments. I would say that John Cena has had better matches than Hulk Hogan, but he hasn't had defining moments. And it might be because he didn't take it that extra step further where the heel turn. It's just he's been so stagnant for so long. Honestly, John Cena kind of reached his peak in 2009, to be quite frank. 2010, he had that Nexus storyline, but it didn't really have that. Hulk Hogan just had so many moments, dude. When he beat the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden, the NWO thing, the comeback against Vince McMahon, the fight against Ultimate Warrior when he put him over. Just so many things. Whereas John Cena, he beat The Rock. No one really cares about that one. He beat Shawn. It's just you can't really compare it. And maybe within the next 10 years we'll say, oh man, John Cena, he was better than Hulk Hogan. But as of this point, I don't see, if you can beat The Rock and no one really cares about that, I don't think there's any much more than we can go with this character. And it's not a knock on John Cena. He's definitely the hardest working guy I've ever seen in the WWE. He sacrificed his family. He sacrificed his body. Everything. He's put everything on the line. But I don't know if I can put him over the Hulkster.
I do believe that John Cena will be viewed in a better light once he's retired or once we don't see him as often as we do. And you want to know somebody who that was also done with? Hulk Hogan. Because there was a time in his career where people were tired of seeing him as a face, and they were tired of seeing the same old Hulk Hogan triumphant. And
people would never throw their shirts.
That's the thing. That's just because that's not because of him. That's more so the fans, because the fans today, they don't give a fuck. That's why. If you would transplant Hulk Hogan and everything that he is, everything that he ever was in today's era, you would be getting the same things that you get with John Cena. Or if you were to transplant these fans from today back then, where they're just so rowdy, where they have the Attitude Era in hindsight, when they have the Attitude Era to judge everything compared to, I believe that Hulk Hogan would be seen in that same light also. But
nah,
I honestly do.
There's just no way in the world that anyone could be hated more than John Cena at this point. He, at least with Hulk Hogan, yeah, they would boo him sometimes. Well, even then, I didn't really notice. Well, I wasn't there at that time. I'm only going by YouTube videos and DVDs. It was more of a, oh, it's Hulk Hogan. Yeah, whatever. With John Cena, it's like, boo, boo, throw the shirt at him, throw things at him. We hate you, die, Cena, die. It never got die.
That's because the Attitude Era changed people. It changed the fan.
We're not in the Attitude Era anymore.
But that's my point, though. We're not in the Attitude Era, so everything that we see today will be judged based off of the standard that was set in the Attitude Era. Fortunately, Hulk Hogan did not have that standard to try to he wasn't living in the shadow of the Attitude Era. That's one of the reasons why he was able to reach that level of success that he got, and that benefited him with people hating him and showing that hate. He didn't get all of that because he wasn't living in the shadow of the Attitude Era. John Cena is.
Look, John Cena is my boy, man, but you can't. Hulk Hogan broke into the mainstream, whereas John Cena, he left a little bit of a crack. People know his existence, but Hulk Hogan, he knocked down the door. Whereas John Cena, had kind of he cracked it open. Hulk Hogan, man, busted in and let everybody know who he was. John Cena never really hit that mainstream. His rap album was pretty popular, but his peak was in 2009. That was probably the biggest. Well, actually, I would say the most popular he would ever be in was in 2007. That was the highest he would ever get. Hulk Hogan really. He slowed down around 93, 94, but he got even more popular than when he ever was in 97.
Well, we'll see how history let me not say history, let me say WWE, because at the end of the day, if they wanted Hornswoggle to be a fucking legend, guess what? All they have to do is say, hey, Hornswoggle is a legend. So we'll see how WWE judges it, but it is my true belief, and I'm not saying that it's anything more than my opinion, that WWE intends for John Cena to dethrone Hulk Hogan.
Whether it'll work or not, that remains to be seen. I don't know if I can go against the Hulkster. I mean, picture this.
Hell, he went against them many times, so I'm pretty sure at this point they're like,
look, I mean, the Hulkster in his prime, man. The ratings that they got, the main event. What was it? I forgot what day it was. I think it was Saturday night's main event.
30 million people tuned in.
Dude, man.
Yep.
Even Austin never got that. I mean, Hulk Hogan was just so huge. I don't know if anyone's 30 million people, man. Maybe it's probably because of the Raw era where we got every single week where it was overexposed, but I don't know, man. I don't think people will get up to them because you ask anyone who Hulk Hogan is, it's like, yeah, I know the Hulkster. Start doing the poses. I am a real American. They start singing it and stuff. Whereas John Cena, you put on his theme song, it's like, I'll have to think about that. Is it this guy? Is it that guy?
Basically, what you said is true. It's going to boil down to whether people believe it or not. And they're not going to come out and say, oh, guys, forget Hulk Hogan. John Cena is the guy now. But I can see when everything is said and done, I'm not going to necessarily say Hulk Hogan's image is going to fade away, but John Cena is going to be that guy. Like, he's going to be that guy.
Definitely. But you never know. Maybe somebody's going to come in one day and just completely... With Daniel Bryan, man, you never know.
I will give Daniel Bryan his
No,
props.
I didn't try to say it like that. I mean, with guys like Daniel Bryan, you would never know, that they would end up being like this. There's probably some guy that's ready to come in and completely takes wrestling in another direction. I mean, with Triple H, I see big things with him, man. He knows what he's doing.
Guy, if you're listening right now, where the hell are you? You need to get started right now. Like, come on. Where are you?
Never know.
We're looking.
He's probably on the show.
Oh, thank you, David. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be. I don't know if I'm gonna become a wrestler though. I'm too short.
I was talking about me.
Oh.